What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Angelokeptituhbando, and I'm back with another video. And today, sorry about that, y'all. And today, I'm gonna be reacting to why Fetty Wap eventually went broke. Make sure you guys like the video, comment down below what other videos you guys want to see, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'm at 48 subscribers. Let's help me get to 50, and then we on the road to 1,000. Anyway, let's get straight to the video.
Back in 2014, Fetty Wap released his breakthrough song, Trap Queen. He caught the world's attention. Everyone wanted to know what he was going to do next, or if he was just another one-hit wonder. But really, the opposite happened. He signed a record deal, collaborated with just about every artist in the game, and was doing world tours, and according to him, clearing easily over 100,000 on a bad day.
The most I saw in my career was 22.
Huh?
22.
Like 22, like 2.22 million.
Yeah.
At the time, the thought of failure probably never crossed his mind. However, the last few years have been a wake-up call for the once king of the airways, forcing him to come to reality that whether he knew it or not, somewhere along the way, things went horribly wrong. Maybe this fall-off was only inevitable after such a fast and unbelievable rise to the top. But as of recent, Fetty Wap has struggled to come anywhere close to the kind of numbers he was doing from 2014 to 2016. His booking price has dropped substantially from a once 100 to 400K to around 20 to 30,000. Of course, to the average person, this seems like a massive amount of money, but is it enough for the rapper to maintain the lifestyle he was living? The obvious answer is probably no.
1739.
Well, now to a developing story. Rapper Fetty Wap under arrest on federal drug charges.
He was arrested yesterday at Citi Field. It was during a music festival. The FBI grabbed him before he hit the stage. He's been in federal custody ever since.
Everything started to go south for Fetty Wap in October last year when he was arrested and later released on a $500,000 bond. Just hours before he was set to perform at Rolling Loud, New York on October 28th, Fetty was taken by FBI agents for questioning. He is one of 6 who are now facing a maximum of life in prison for substance trafficking. Now the story is still developing, and to this day he is still considered an innocent man. But if the allegations are true, this only fuels the idea that Fetty was still trying to maintain a lifestyle that he can no longer afford on his music revenue alone, forcing him to outsource to other options. So how did it come to this, and where did everything go wrong? Before that, I want to thank our sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is literally everywhere, and I'm sure you've heard of them by now. If you love to learn and be creative, they have thousands of online courses that cover just about everything. From video editing and music to managing your money, they have a course for everyone. We first found Skillshare back in 2018, and we used their tutorials to learn the basics of editing. It's helped us produce better content in many ways, and because they're sponsoring us today, the first 1,000 of you to click the link down below in the description will receive a 1-month free trial for all their services. After that, you can pay a small monthly fee to continue learning. Thanks again to Skillshare.
10 million records, right? Yeah. And then you to me it felt like you disappeared.
In 2013, Fetty Wap was living in Paterson, New Jersey, and had just started making music the year before. He and his group, the Remy Boys, consisted of himself, Monty, and Pete Ice. As a group, they were working under RGF Productions, which was a label formed by their friend Nit the Grit, who they met way back in 2009. Nit the Grit would essentially be managing the group. He had the most knowledge at the time, as he was once an artist with a small buzz in New Jersey. Initially, Fetty wasn't really into making music, but because everyone around him was doing it, he eventually hopped in the booth. He recorded 2 songs, but never released them. Trap Queen would be the 3rd song he ever recorded, and he knew then he had a hit if he could find a way for people to hear it. He printed CDs of his mixtape Up Next and started passing them out to every music event he could get into. The mixtape included the tracks Trap Queen and 679 on there, but he wasn't gaining much traction, even after promoting it, so he decided to hop on Instagram and promote it there, and this would go on for over a year. Although months and months were going by and the song still wasn't picking up much traction, he continued to promote it word of mouth and online every night and day.
On my Instagram, like, if anybody got the time to go back, you'll see it on my timeline. Like, every day for almost 6 months straight, we posted Trap Queen.
Finally, in late 2014, he was driving home from a local show in New Jersey, and he heard Trap Queen on the radio. It wasn't long after that the song would start to go viral. With Trap Queen starting to gain major success, other songs like 679 would also start to circulate. And with what seemed like overnight, Fetty Wap was the biggest new artist in the game. Not only did he blow up, but he essentially created a whole new sound that he called Trap and B. Because of this, his music stood out compared to everything else that was popping up at the time. And because he created that style, he was the only one who could deliver it. He cornered the market, and this made him an extremely high-value artist for the time. With this, of course, bags of money were coming in. But even though he was stacking millions of dollars, it's possible he was only seeing a fraction of what his music was actually making. It came to light that Fetty signed a record deal for only $50,000, even after his Trap Queen song was already going viral. Now, it's possible he received a low upfront, so he was keeping a higher percentage from his sales, but regardless, he was still signed to RGF Productions as well, so it's unclear how much of the money his music made he actually saw.
That's trash. That's like a what they call it, a 20, 30. That's a whatchamacallit, like a slave deal. Damn near. You signed a record deal for 50,000. Not 50 million, 50,000. Come on, bro. Don't ever do this in your life. If any of y'all in the music industry, I would advise y'all to stay independent. Honestly. I'm gonna just keep it a stack. But once you get signed to a record label, they're gonna want you to do some. They're gonna have you do some whole other. So I would advise anybody in the music industry to stay independent.
If you have a song that went diamond, you should be able to make money till you're 80 years old.
Fetty was rolling deep with his crew everywhere he went, and he was known to be kind with his money, so he openly took care of the people around him. He spoke up recently on the DJ Academics podcast that he had purchased over 70 cars since the start of his career, and over 40 of them were for family and friends. He stated he never felt good walking into the Balmain store and buying $20,000 worth of jeans for himself, so he would let everyone he was with grab pairs until his bill doubled or tripled to $60,000, and that's just on jeans. Although Fetty had a big heart, it wasn't just other people he spent his well-deserved money on, but he also spoiled himself too. $2.5 million on jewelry, over 10 houses in Jersey, Miami, and LA combined. These were bringing his monthly bills to roughly $200,000 every month. At the moment, this seemed like a small price to pay compared to the money that was coming in. But the problems would begin to show as 2017, 18, and 19 came, when Fetty Wap would begin to lose popularity, and fast. Now, it's also important to point out that anytime an artist comes in the game and has such a massive rise, a small fall-off is somewhat expected. Trap Queen is a certified diamond track, meaning it sold over 10 million records, something very few artists achieve in their lifetime. But I guess people still expected him to keep that level of momentum going for years to come. Now, some fans felt like he just wasn't delivering that fun, club-sounding trap music anymore, so they lost interest. When he came out in 2014, the sound was fresh and exciting, so we embraced it like a breath of fresh air. But as the years went on, a vast variety of other artists with similar styles started popping up, until it was no longer so special of a sound. Other critics have stated they felt like his PR team didn't do a good job of letting fans see who Fetty was as a person, outside of his music. He recalls sometime around 2018 realizing he was going broke if he...
And they didn't, that's facts. Because look at, they just said around that same time, that video is from Broccoli. A song called Broccoli. I mean, you don't really hear about, I can't even think of it. You don't really, well, I don't know. I don't know who listens to Lil Yachty like that. But you don't hear about Dram, do you? Lil Yachty still is relevant, but who's heard where Dram been at? So I don't know. But yeah, they wasn't pushing his music like that.
Kept up the spin.
Me and my family well, not my family, but like, well, yeah, I guess you could say that me and my cousin was on it heavy.
Habits he had formed. His bank accounts were frozen, and the once $20 million he had stashed away was quickly disappearing. At this point, he realized something needed to change, and a surprising encounter with Taylor Swift changed his perspective on things.
Taylor Swift hits you up. She's actually the coolest person I ever met. She's the reason why I started paying attention to my camp.
He cleaned up the amount of people he kept around him and ended up selling off most of the unnecessary homes and cars he had been holding on to. Even though this was a step in the right direction on the financial side, his music numbers weren't looking much better. His career was just stagnant, and there really wasn't any growth for years on end. Which leads us to his current situation, where he now has to fight for his freedom on top of everything else. He faces a minimum of 10 years behind bars and a maximum of life. Now, with all the publicity his case has brought him, he seems to recently be opening up more about the mistakes he and his team may have made along the way. He and his manager, Knit the Grit, have been going back and forth in various interviews stating their points of view about everything, which is unfortunate to see another friendship damaged by money and fame, when in reality, the cause of all this could have just been out of their control. Fetty Wap had an amazing few years in music and left his impact in many ways. Of course, the idea of it lasting forever will always be there, but it doesn't take away from the amazing things he's already accomplished. But I think this YouTube comment sums it up perfectly.
Could you believe it? I ain't known for giving reasons. I wanna be the one that she believes in. I'm just trying to live my life before I leave it. Yeah, and I'm a rock star. They love the way I rock when I roll. And I'm a pop star. Still be by the pots in the stove. Could you believe it?
Yeah, Fetty Wap was, like I said, back in 2014, and that song was popping. I was 13, 12, turning 13 years old when that song came out. Motherfuckers in school was singing that mother like a motherfucker, you know. And then 6, 7, 9 came out. I don't know when the heck that came out, but that song was popping too, bro. And then you wouldn't hear from him like that. But, and this is why I said, stay independent, because $50,000 is not that much money. And if not, even if you feel like, and even not, like, you being an independent artist is hard, because you're doing everything yourself. You promoting it yourself. You're doing all of that. But you don't got nobody pushing you, telling you to do this and that, and all that other bullshit that they make you do in the music industry. So, if you do start making music, I would advise you to stay independent, because music industry, even just being in the music industry as an independent artist is fuck too. So, but that's the end of this video. Again, make sure you guys like the video, comment down below what other videos you guys want to see, and subscribe to the channel. And let's hit 50 subscribers. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.